Hello fellow horror fans. Well, our look at the Friday the 13th franchise continues on with the first film of the franchise, distributed by New Line Cinema, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. So, here we go. In June 2003, 5 years after the events of the previous film, a female undercover government agent at Camp Crystal Lake lures Jason Voorhees into a trap set by the FBI, and armed men obliterate his body. His remains are sent to a morgue, where a coroner becomes possessed by Jason's spirit after eating Jason's putrid heart. Ew! Jason, now in the coroner's body, escapes the morgue. At Crystal Lake, he finds 3 partying teens and kills them. Jason attacks 2 police officers, killing one and possessing the other. Meanwhile, bounty hunter Creighton Duke discovers only members of Jason's bloodline can truly kill him, and he will never return to his normal and near invincible state if he possesses a member of his family. The only relatives of Jason are his half-sister Diana Kimball, her daughter Jessica, and Stephanie, the infant daughter of Jessica and Stephen Freeman. Jason makes his way to Diana's house. Steve bursts in and attacks Jason. Diana is killed and Jason escapes. Stephen is arrested for Diana's murder and meets Duke, who reveals Jessica's relation to Jason. Determined to get to Jessica before Jason does, Stephen escapes from jail. Jessica is dating tabloid TV reporter Robert Campbell. Stephen goes to the Voorhees house to find evidence to convince Jessica, but falls to rod and boards. Robert enters the upstairs room and receives a phone call which reveals that he's attempting to spice up his show's ratings by putting emphasis on Jason's return from death, having stolen Diana's body from the morgue for this reason. Jason bursts in and transfers his heart into Robert, while the body he left melts. Jason leaves with Stephen in pursuit. Jason attempts to be reborn through Jessica, but is disrupted by Stephen, who hits him and takes Jessica into his car. Stephen stalls Jason by running him over. When he tries to explain the situation to Jessica, she disbelieves him and throws him out of the car. Jessica goes to the police station. Jason arrives at the police station and kills most of the officers. He nearly possesses Jessica before Stephen stops him. Jessica realizes Stephen is right. In the chaos, Duke makes his escape. Jessica and Stephen make their way into the diner to grab the baby. Jason arrives but is attacked by the owners of the shop. He kills the owners, but waitress Vicky shoots him with a shotgun, then impales him with an iron rod. He then impales her on the same rod before crushing her head, killing her. Jason is presumably killed, and Jessica and Stephen discover a note from Duke, telling him that he has the baby and demands that Jessica meet him at the Voorhees house alone. Jessica meets Duke at the Voorhees house and is given a mystical dagger which she can use to permanently kill Jason. A police officer enters the diner where Robert, possessed, transfers his heart into him. Duke falls through the floor, and Jessica is confronted by Landis and Randy. Landis is killed accidentally with a dagger, and Jessica drops a dagger. Randy, possessed, attempts to be reborn through Stephanie, but Stephen arrives and severs his neck with a machete. Jason's heart, which has grown into a demonic infant, crawls out of Randy's neck to Diana's dead body in the basement. Stephen and Jessica pull Duke out of the basement as Jason discovers Diana's body and slithers into her vaginal orifice, allowing him to be reborn. Ew! While Stephen and Jessica attempt to retrieve the dagger, Duke distracts Jason and is incapacitated with a bear hug. Jason turns his attention to Jessica as Stephen tackles Jason, who both fight outside while Jessica retrieves the dagger. Jason badly brutalizes Stephen, and when he is about to kill him, Jessica stabs Jason in the chest, releasing the souls Jason accumulated over time. Demonic hands burst out of the ground and pull Jason into hell. Stephen and Jessica reconcile and walk off into the sunrise with their baby. Later, a dog unearths Jason's mask while digging in the dirt. Freddy Krueger's gloved hand bursts out of the dirt and pulls Jason's mask into hell, whilst laughing evilly. Gee, I wonder what that's going to lead up to. So anyway, let's look at the production of this movie, beginning with development and writing. Producer Sean S. Cunningham originally conceived an action horror film in which Jason Voorhees would battle Freddy Krueger of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Paramount Pictures, who had released the previous 8 Friday the 13th films, negotiated with New Line Cinema over the rights to this series, and ultimately granted New Line rights to the Jason Voorhees character, but retained control of the Friday the 13th title. New Line placed Cunningham's idea for a Freddy vs. Jason film on hold, prompting him to generate a different script to precede that plotline. Cunningham's original idea would later manifest as Freddy vs. Jason in 2003. The film marked Adam Marcus' debut feature, having just graduated from film school. Marcus was originally tagged to direct My Boyfriend's Back for Touchstone Pictures, but the studio's parent company, Walt Disney Studios, did not want to hire a first-time director, and Marcus was dropped from the project. Marcus, who was a lifelong fan of the Friday the 13th series, developed a story in which Voorhees is destroyed at the beginning of the narrative, only to manifest in the bodies of other people and continue his rampage. Marcus later acknowledged the concept's similarity to that of The Hidden, though he stated he had not seen the film at that time, and that the similarity was coincidental. The initial script was written by Jay Hughley, which was reportedly 10 kinds of awful and impossible to understand. Unsatisfied with the final draft, Cunningham hired Dean Lorey to scrap Hughley's work and write a completely new script within 4 days. Leslie Bone was brought in over a weekend to polish the script, while Louis Abernathy wrote the opening scene. Now on to the special effects. The special effects were provided by Al Magliocchetti, sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, and effects studio KNB, the former having signed on to the film after friends of his from KNB notified him of its development. The colors of the visual effects were chosen by Adam Marcus. Now let's take a look at some retrospective insight. In November 2017, Adam Marcus revealed that an overlooked plot point of the movie is that Jason Voorhees is actually connected to the Evil Dead franchise. The filmmaker stated, quote, Pamela Voorhees makes a deal with the devil by reading from the Necronomicon to bring back her son. This is why Jason isn't Jason. He's Jason plus the Evil Dead, and now I can believe that he can go from a little boy that lives in a lake to a full-grown man in a couple of months, to zombie Jason, to never being able to kill this guy. That to me is way more interesting as a mashup, and Raimi loved it. It's not like I could tell New Line might plan to include the Evil Dead, because they don't own the Evil Dead, so it had to be an Easter egg, and I did focus on it. There's a whole scene that includes the book. I hoped people would get it and figure out that's what I'm up to. So yes, in my opinion, Jason Voorhees is a Deadite. He's one of the Evil Dead, end quote. In December 2017, Marcus revealed Creighton Duke's intended backstory. Quote, a teenage Creighton was out on Crystal Lake with his girlfriend. Jason capsized her small boat and pulled the girl down into the lake. Creighton tried to save her, but could not. She was never seen again. Creighton vowed revenge, and from that moment on, he spent his life in the study in pursuit of Jason. He became a bounty hunter just to fund his work in taking down his nemesis, end quote. Huh. That's interesting. Now let's take a look at the music. The film's musical score was composed by Harry Manfredini, who had previously composed music for the first 7 films in the series. And I want to reference this movie in other media. A 3-issue comic adaptation of Jason Goes to Hell: The Final Friday was written by Andy Mangels, was published by Topps Comics. As the comics are based upon the original shooting script of the film, elements that were left out of the film are used in them. Topps also released a series of trading cards for the film. The FBI scene that occurs at the beginning of the film is foreshadowed in the novel Friday the 13th, Hate, Kill, Repeat, which takes place between the events of the 7th and 8th films. The epilogue of the book states that the FBI, upon discovering Jason Voorhees actually exists, have begun making plans to trap him and send him straight to hell. Freddy Krueger's clawed hand coming out of the ground and taking Jason's mask was a reference to the future crossover Freddy vs. Jason between the two, which had been in development hell since 1987. It was finally finished in 2003, a year after this film's sequel. The film features the appearances of the Skulldagger and Necronomicon from Evil Dead 2. Jason, Freddy, and Ash Williams were later made in the comic book series Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, a story adapted by writer Jeff Katz from a Freddy vs. 2 screenplay treatment he had written in 2004, and again in Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, The Nightmare Warriors. The Jason Goes to Hell depiction of Jason Voorhees is featured in 2017's Friday the 13th, The Game. Because of a continuity error in the film regarding Jason's damaged eye, his in-game character model is mirrored from his movie counterpart. As the Gun Media developers explained, quote, "In Jason Goes to Hell, everyone kind of knows there was a mistake with Jason's undermask. It's Jason's left eye that's supposed to be damaged, because in Part 4 he takes the machete to the head. But in Jason Goes to Hell, it was reversed on accident, so we decided to fix it," end quote. The game officially reveals Jason's facial appearance from underneath the mask, which wasn't seen in the film. Huh, that's kind of interesting. So overall, this movie is just kind of eh. I don't think about Jason possessing people. It's kind of interesting, but it does kind of underscore what kind of threat Jason is. So, there you go. So overall, I give Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, 2 jack-o'-lanterns out of 5. Well, tune in tomorrow as we take a look at Jason X, which was actually the first movie the franchise ever saw, so there you go. So, until then,